Alright, so this is going to be a reading for Sagittarius. And for the Sagittarius that I'm reading for today, I'm seeing that you are going through something that is shaking up your equilibrium, sort of your sense of stability within yourself. And so that's what this reading is really going to be about. Now, before I begin, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. If you would like a personal reading, I do offer them at my website, ajstarot.com. You can get a pre recorded reading or a live one on one reading with me there. And if this reading resonates with you, please take a moment to like and subscribe, as that helps me out a lot. And thank you so much to my regular listeners for sticking with me. I know I had to take a break for a while, but I think I'm back. Just need to kind of rest, recalibrate, with the eclipses and the Aries full moon. It was a lot, but here we are. So, Sagittarius, your overall energy for the reading is the Five of Pentacles. So, the Five of Pentacles represents struggle and hardship. It also represents fear. So, there could be something that you are struggling with, something that you are struggling to come to terms with, or it could be a feeling of being afraid of something going wrong, something kind of happening. And I do kind of see that energy in the reading here today, you kind of teetering on the edge of something. When I clarified the Five of Pentacles, I got the Three of Pentacles, the Four of Swords, sorry, and the Ten of Wands. So there's something that you have been thinking about quite a bit, possibly a partnership, a collaboration of some time, something that you've been working on. And there's something about stepping away from this or taking a break from it that feels very intense, very charged with that Ten of Wands. It could be like a burden, like you're almost like scared of stepping away from this or something like that. You could feel like you're carrying the whole thing, or a lot depends on you and it's starting to really weigh down your energy. In the recent past, we have the Hermit, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Tower. So you're showing me that there is something that happens and you're kind of trying to get your bearings after this happened. It might have presented some new information to you and you're trying to kind of make sense of it all. Let's take a look at what happened here with the Tower. The King of Pentacles, the Emperor, and the Six of Pentacles. Whatever it was that was very stable in your life, some type of foundation, the give and take attached to this, something was disrupted there. There could have been like a sudden explosion or a big event. You would know what this is. I just heard the word conversation, so it could have been a certain conversation that really rattled you. But something in the exchange, the balance with someone else or something else that you usually rely on became very shaken up. Let's look at the Hermit for how you're faring through all of that. The Two of Pentacles, the Two of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles. I see you trying to figure out, like, what do I do in this situation? Where do I stand? And there's very much you and then the energy opposite you. You're coming through as the Queen of Pentacles, and this other energy is coming through as the King of Pentacles. And you could be starting to kind of doubt, how things are working out with this other person. You have some questions here for sure. Let's take a look at the Ace of Pentacles in the recent past, the Eight of Wands, the Justice card, the Nine of Pentacles. Whatever happened here made you wonder, am I better off by myself? And it comes through again as I can't really rely on this other energy, even though I thought that I could. And it comes through as a bit of a shock, kind of sudden, and it brings up fears for you because you're like, if I can't rely on this other thing, then I have to rely on myself, which maybe I wasn't thinking I was going to have to do. Maybe I wasn't prepared to do. It definitely brings up quite a bit for you. And I think this is a good time to talk about your oracle cards today. We have We Are the World, aloneness in reverse, and ordinariness. So with We Are the World, that's always a reminder that there is more going on outside of you. There's more support, there's more love, and there's also just more happening outside of your sort of bubble than you might be aware of. So it's a reminder to connect to that which is outside of you. So if you're always hanging out in the same neighborhood, or you're always staying inside the house, maybe consider going down the street, checking out an event in your neighborhood, reaching out to other people, and really connecting outside of your comfort zone. We have aloneness in the reverse, which also sort of speaks to that sense of isolation, and maybe not even realizing that you are kind of shutting yourself into one experience, or only doing things by yourself, only experiencing things in one way. Spirit's asking you, reach outside of yourself. Remember, you do have connections out there that are waiting for you. And then ordinariness as well. That originally came out in the reverse, but I turned it upright because I felt like it should be upright. But that has to do with, again, the day-to-day humdrum, your routine, the things you're used to, your comfort zone. And Spirit's asking you, what would it look like for you to step outside of your comfort zone and connect in a way that you might not be used to? And so if you're someone who is starting to think, oh no, I might have to be by myself here, or I can't depend on this other energy that's around me, try to open up your mind and remember that there are other energies around you that you can connect to. You just might have to get outside of your comfort zone to do that. Now, in the current energy, we have the Five of Swords, the Ace of Wands, and the Page of Cups. Whatever it was that happened here really shook you up. And that Five of Swords is not a good energy. There could be something that you're not seeing very clearly, something sort of deceptive. And you're showing me, I'm going off of my feelings, I'm going off of my heart, Ace of Wands, Page of Cups, but that Five of Swords brings that into question and makes me wonder, are you really doing that? Are you really staying true to yourself? Let's take a look at the Ace of Wands. The Knight of Wands, the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Cups. Whatever it was that really rattled you here, whatever happened in this situation, it brought into question, what is it that makes me happy, and am I truly happy? Am I happy in whatever I'm giving to? Am I happy in whatever I'm balancing with? And it came up so forcefully that it was like you couldn't look away from it. You really had to level with yourself and ask, am I really being nourished by what I'm putting my energy into? And how does it make me feel? And there's something around that kind of came up for you. Let's take a look at the Five of Swords, the Two of Pentacles, the Four of Cups, the Judgment card. Yeah, there's something in you that is very upset, that doesn't feel good, that feels doubtful, and it makes you kind of waver on making a final decision, making a final judgment. So for a lot of you, I'm seeing there's something here about pulling your energy back or stepping away from something that's draining you, and you're showing me I can't make that decision, I don't know. But that comes through as a little bit deceptive, because I think you do know there is something there that's coming through on an emotional level, but on a mental level, it's almost like you're arguing with your emotions, you're arguing with how you feel, and saying, well, do I really have to do that? Maybe it's not like that, maybe it's this other way. And Spirit's saying there's something deep within you that's trying to be heard and felt, and you may not be listening to it very clearly. So there's something here about getting in touch with not just what makes sense, but what you feel. And there could be a fear around, well, if I get in touch with what I feel, then everything could start to unravel. And that is scary. Let's take a look at the Page of Cups. The Three of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, and the Knight of Swords. You get very anxious when you start to think about what could happen here. And you might go to the worst case scenario. It's almost like your perspective on this is very fearful for some reason. And with the Ace of Cups, at the bottom of the deck, Spirit's asking you to ask yourself, well, what if it actually all worked out? Because you're coming at it from a place of fear, when actually, if you make a change here, it could lead to some success. I do see that there's some pain attached to this. We have the Three of Swords, the Three of Wands, and the Hierophant here in the near future. Let's take a look at the Three of Swords, Two of Cups, Four of Pentacles, Ten of Wands. You're trying to hold on very tightly to whatever is at the other end of this, whatever you've been working with, whatever you've been balancing with. It might be a person, it might be a group of people, it might be a project. For many of you, I am seeing it as one other person, so maybe a friendship, maybe a romantic situation. But you're trying to hold on very closely to this relationship. And you're showing me that you're holding on for dear life with the Ten of Wands. And it becomes very difficult because you're trying to keep it all together. And what's been presented to you is maybe this needs to fall apart for you to find that balance that you're actually kind of seeking. And I see your heart kind of reaching out to find balance, but then you're like, no, 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 no. It's okay. I can just stay in this. And you think you're balanced in this, but you're actually kind of walking a tightrope, and at any moment you could fall over. Let's take a look at the Hierophant. We have the Ace of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords. So you're showing me on some higher level, you do know what it is you feel you're supposed to do. There could be this feeling from your higher self, or maybe from someone else, that's showing you this path. And the path is, you know what you need to do. You need to step away from this so that you can find balance. And it's sort of this energy of like, this would be the best thing for me. But Ten of Swords, I really don't want to do that. You're showing me a lot of pain, again, attached to the idea of stepping away from this. And you could be going into this place of like worst case scenario, or everything would be terrible if I did this. And Spirit's asking you to remember the bigger picture, sort of, and what it would be like to find balance within yourself. And if that means something comes to an end, you know, that means something comes to an end. Let's take a look at the Three of Wands, the King of Cups, the Hermit, the Fool. You're trying, you know, you're showing me I'm trying to connect to my heart. I'm trying to trust. I'm trying to move from this place of strength, belief, love, openness, all of these things. But it's difficult at times because you are used to maybe coming from a place of survival mode, maybe coming from a place of fear, and so it's hard to kind of see things clearly. However, you are showing me sort of the best intentions here. I want this to work out. I want things to work out for everyone involved. I want to, you know, take the best possible path and follow my heart and all of that stuff. But within that, I see you also weighing to really truly do that, to honor, you know, my truest path. What would that really entail? And it might entail cutting some things out that are hurting you. Okay, let's get 3 cards of advice for you before we end the reading. 3 cards of advice from the universe. The Page of Swords, the Five of Wands, the Nine of Swords. When you start to question whatever dynamic you're engaging in here, you start to really panic, and there's a lot of inner struggle. And so Spirit's first piece of advice is you don't have to make any decisions right now. You don't have to make any decisions from that place of panic and struggle. So try to sort of relax and come down from that, you know, that mental struggle, pain, you know, inner conflict energy, and you'll start to feel more clarity. So that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope this helps. I hope this resonates, and I'll see you next time.